What do you love about Wisconsin? Is it the memory of walking with your family on a Northwoods trail, biking through rolling farms and meadows, hunting or fishing on a crisp morning? Special places like these are what make this state such a wonderful place to live, work, and play. Gathering Waters is an organization that works to protect Wisconsin's special places. We do this by strengthening Wisconsin's land trusts. Land trusts are nonprofit organizations that work to protect and preserve our natural environment for future generations. They protect our clean water and air resources, support economies through local tourism, forestry, and agriculture, and they provide habitat for plants and animals. Wisconsin is lucky to have more than 50 land trusts, making a real difference in communities across the state. Gathering Waters works to ensure land trusts have the tools, expertise, and resources to be strong and effective organizations. We advocate for public conservation policies and work to ensure that Wisconsin's communities understand the benefits of supporting their land trusts. In fact, we'd like to share a few stories with you now to demonstrate just some of the ways land trusts are touching lives in Wisconsin.
I'm Dave Clutter, Executive Director with Driftless Area Land Conservancy. We're at the Erickson Conservation Area, which is a piece of land purchased about a year and a half ago by Driftless Area Land Conservancy. And it's a 220-acre parcel that lies directly adjacent to the village of Argyle and also the village park and the K-12 school.
A classmate of mine lived on the little farm on the corner, just up behind us there, and he had a pony and I had a pony, so I can remember riding out through there. Cross-country skiing, either I'd seen Neil's tracks or he'd seen mine.
This property was one of my first introductions to nature, and it's a great comfort to me to know that it's going to continue to be here, and it'll also be here for future generations.
This property came up for sale, and I thought, uh-oh, are we going to have that access to it that we had before?
We couldn't have done this project without the Knowles Nelson Stewardship Grant. You know, it pays for 50% of the appraised value on the property, and that was significant. So without the stewardship fund, the property wouldn't have gone. Gathering Waters during that same time brought in a consultant, Judy Anderson. Judy started talking about an ambassador landscape idea, and that's really where we borrowed our policy from, is Judy's thinking. But she talked about these properties as being located near people, scalable to children, inviting, and you know, a way of really engaging people that may not otherwise be engaged in the enjoyment of the outdoors and in natural resources. And you know, when she started talking about schools and partnerships with schools, knowing that this property was directly adjacent to Argyle's K-12 school, I immediately pulled out my computer at that time. I had 3 board members with me, I think, at that time, and I pointed at this property and I said, this is it.
Well, the role that I see for the Erickson wetlands is we now have a 220-acre laboratory.
It's just better to be outside because you get more fresh air and there's just more to do.
We've been working hand in hand with the school and developing curriculum and using this property as an outdoor laboratory.
During school, it kind of feels cooped up, and then when we get to get outside, it's like you're free.
I've been coming out here for probably around 50 years. I'm not tired of it yet.
We're standing today in the middle of the Brule-St. Croix Legacy Forest, which is a conserved property formerly owned by Wausau Paper Company. Now it's owned by the Lime Timber Company in partnership with the Conservation Fund. These habitats are extraordinarily interesting in that they need fire and disturbance in order to propagate. So it's not like a forest that sits there and grows and grows and grows. It needs to recycle and to regenerate.
I run a harvester, it's called. It cuts the trees down, limbs it, and cuts it up in specified lengths. kind of hard to explain, but I had one guy ride with me. He's like, oh, this is like a spaceship. All these buttons in front of me are programmed, each program for a different length. And I don't know, my fingers figure out where to go and hit the right button.
So forestry on this landscape really helps mimic what has happened historically, where, as in these barrens, fire was a huge part of the regime here. Large expanses of timberland would just be regenerated over time by fire.
If there's not enough young trees to reforest it, then we have to go through and disc trench everything and then plant young seedlings. Usually, well, last year was roughly about 1 million trees that we planted.
It's important to keep the integrity of our private working forest land base for jobs, but also the environmental protection and recreation that comes about from these lands.
I love to bow hunt, rifle hunt out on the property. I mean, it's great recreational use for everyone.
The state of Wisconsin is so fortunate to have the Knowles Nelson State Stewardship Program, which provides significant funding for land conservation at the community level and at the state level. If it wasn't for Gathering Waters, we would not likely have this funding source going into the future, because they provide the information to decision makers and communities across the state about the value of land conservation. The existence of the conservation easement on this particular piece of property means that the property will be supporting jobs into perpetuity.
My grandpa started back in 1950 something, I believe, and then he worked, and he's still working today. He's 81 years old. He still works with me every day.
Essentially, if this was private land, I mean, I would be out of a job basically. You know, I'd probably have to move, you know, try to find a job somewhere else if the conservation easement wasn't in place.
When this easement was placed on the property, to me it meant a lot, in that our kids have that gift that this will be preserved and enjoyed just as I am today.
The River Revitalization Foundation is working on transforming disturbed and blighted urban areas into a destination place, you know, an area that's highly recreated, that families and the public can feel great about coming towards and enjoying it. So the local residents in the community use our land and our parks for several different things: kayaking, canoeing. We have a fabulous Kiwanis boat landing that we use, as well as just hiking on our trails. The most recent property that we acquired connects the rest of downtown Milwaukee with over 800 acres worth of greenway.
Earn and Learn is a program funded by the state, and the City of Milwaukee places almost 3,000 youth each year in the summer to work part-time at different nonprofit organizations.
A couple summers ago, I had another Earn and Learn job where I had worked in food service, and it's way different. There's no bugs.
I work with generally about 10 kids every summer, and it's just the most amazing thing to watch kids transform from not seeing anything outdoors, not experiencing anything in nature, to getting out on the water, canoeing for the first time ever, and really getting out there, getting their hands dirty, and asking questions about what things are.
The best thing is it's an active job. Instead of just sitting somewhere and just like filling out paperwork or an office job, it's way better. Like hands-on kind of stuff.
The Knowles Nelson Stewardship Program of the Department of Natural Resources is critical to doing any land trust deals. We get funding from them and match it locally, so resources are leveraged, and without that support, we couldn't even do conservation work because the cost of the land in the city is so high. We're one of the only urban rivers land trusts in the entire state, and Gathering Waters recognized that and has nurtured that and supported that with training and technical assistance and resources. It's been invaluable to be able to grow with that assistance from Gathering Waters and have that message heard that urban conservation matters. And there are still places in the city that are worth protecting. So Gathering Waters has been instrumental in building that message and recognizing it.
The work that we do is important because we need nature, you know, more than we need basically everything else. And people don't understand that as much as they think they need technology and everything, but nature been here and it's gonna be here after we gone. So that's why we need to keep it up.
In order to ensure that Wisconsin's land trusts are around to make this kind of impact throughout the state forever, we need your help. Together, we will ensure that children have places to play, farmers have lands to sow, wildlife have places to thrive, and families like yours and mine have places to fish, hike, hunt, and explore the best of Wisconsin.
I'm Thomas Mitchell, Chair of Gathering Waters. We've been helping to strengthen land trusts throughout Wisconsin for the past 20 years, resulting in the kind of community impact you've seen in the stories just featured. To continue this essential work for the next 20 years and beyond, we need your help. Please consider making a tax-deductible donation to Gathering Waters today. Together, we can continue to protect the places that make Wisconsin special and can continue to grow healthy Wisconsin communities. Thank you.